Hey guys, this is Ballin with a new episode of Ace or Kick, a series where I want to give you helpful advices and tips and tricks to improve your gameplay. Today I want to talk about common mistakes that are often made by players and that I've seen a lot recently. So if you avoid some of these mistakes, you should be able to improve your gameplay a little bit. And of course for this series I got an ace gameplay. So what is really cool about this gameplay is that some of the points that I'll mention actually happened in this gameplay, so it's really good for explaining some of my points. So let's start with my first point, which is window peeking. And as you could see in the gameplay, one of the defenders tried to peek on us through this little window, and what happened is that I reacted instantly, shot at the window, didn't even see him actually, but I got the headshot. And this is why window peeking is very often a really bad idea. Of course, sometimes it will work and you will get some easy kills, but if there's just one good player, you will likely be killed. Especially if you just open up one little hole, the attackers will automatically know where your head will be. So if one good player just shoots at this position, you will get a headshot. And this is what you want to do as an attacker. You should always watch those windows, and if someone punches a hole into a window, you should always shoot that window, like exactly at the spot where the hole is, because the defender will have his head right there because he wants to look outside. I often see players not caring enough for the windows when they approach a building and getting picked right after spawning because of this reason. And of course window peeking can be really helpful, but this is most likely not at the beginning of a round. Now my second point is quite similar. It's about those murder holes in walls you often see. The problem with those murder holes is pretty much the same. If you punch only one single hole or like a circular hole, the attackers will know where your head is, and if they just shoot at this little hole, they will get the headshot. And as the one standing behind the murder hole, you will see pretty much nothing. So if you actually want to make murder holes as a defender, you should always make them over the whole width of one wall panel. So you will have a murder hole in a straight line across one wall panel, and this will give you high visibility. And apart from that, the attackers will not know where you'll peek through the murder hole, so they actually have to look for where you are peeking. Alright, so the next point on my list is stationary defending. And this point came to my mind when I was watching the Rainbow Six Pro League matches. So what I noticed is that the defenders pretty much never stood still. And if an attacker saw their position, they often changed to another position. Now my next episode of Ace or Kick will actually be completely about stationary defending, but today I'll give you some little advices. So if you defend the objective, you should find one or two positions where you can change to. And if an enemy spots you at the first position, you can just change to the second one and then to the third one, or back to the first one, depending on how many positions you got. So it will be quite hard for enemies to spot you. Because if you're sitting, let's say, behind the deployable shield inside the objective room and one enemy spots you, it will be quite easy to land a headshot on you if you stay at this same exact location. And this is because the peeker's advantage is still present, and I bet it will never be completely removed. So if this guy got good crosshair placement, you will have like no chance to survive this. And this leads me to my second advice. I often see players standing behind deployable shields, but I actually think that deployable shields are not really good as cover. And this is because of two reasons. The first one is that the attackers will first of all look behind deployable shields if there's an enemy. And the second reason is that you don't really have a real cover, because the deployable shield can be destroyed by explosives, and you are only behind cover if you crouch or lay down. And if you crouch or lay down, there's most likely an angle from which the enemies can still hit you. So I'd much rather go with a solid wall as cover. You can use deployable shields very good for blocking off hallways, or like blocking a door or deploying a trap behind it. And what you want to do if you are at the objective and defending it and you get into a firefight with an enemy, you should just get behind the cover and then peek again. And then get behind the cover again, peek again, and so on and so on. So this will mostly eliminate the peeker's advantage. Alright, I think this is enough for stationary defending for this video. So my next points are peeking in general and crosshair placement, and for me personally those 2 points go together. So a mistake that I often see is that players take far too much time when peeking. If you are peeking, you want to be as fast as possible, because if you sneak around the corner, this will give the enemy enough time to react, and it will completely eliminate the effects of the peeker's advantage. So if you peek on an enemy, do it as fast as possible, and this of course requires good crosshair placement. And good crosshair placement is when you peek around the corner and your crosshair is already on a level where the head of the enemy will be. Or if you peek in a room and you know that there are certain covers in this room and you place the crosshair right above this cover, and if there's actually someone behind that cover, you already have the crosshair placed on his head and you can easily land a headshot on him. But of course, good crosshair placement requires good map knowledge, and this comes with playing. So of course you have to learn where the objects are in a certain room, and of course practice your crosshair placement. So of course these points need practice, so don't expect to get a good crosshair placement just overnight. You will really have to practice this one. So my next point is drones, and I still see people not using their drones, and I have no fucking idea why. Drones can really help you in 2 ways. The first one is that you can spot enemies without the risk of being killed. So you can search for roamers, or you can just drive into the objective room and see where enemies are positioned and where they have deployable shields, etc. And the second one is if an enemy has a really good position and you have no chance to kill him in this certain position, you can just drive in there with your drone and spot him, and really often the defenders will change their position after being spotted, so you can just make him search for another position which is easier to counter. So as you can see, drones can be really helpful if you use them right, or if you actually use them. So just do it. And now my last point is time management, and a mistake that I often see is that players are taking far too much time to actually attack the objective. So in the end these players get in a real hurry. So if you get in a hurry, the way that you approach the objective will never be the perfect one. So my advice is to not wait longer than necessary to attack the objective. But you should still use your drones and don't rush straight into the objective. That's not what I am trying to say with this point. So take your time to prepare your attack, but always keep an eye on the time you have left. So a lot of players think that 50 seconds are just enough time to attack the objective. But if you have 50 seconds left, you should already be in a hurry. So let's imagine the following scenario. You are attacking the objective at 50 seconds through a certain hallway, and the enemy team has a smoke on their team, and he is a smart player, he saved his charges, and at 50 seconds he starts to put down one after the other. So you will run out of time and in the end make a really dumb decision, like just running through the smoke and dying inside the smoke or getting picked easily. And of course it doesn't always have to be smoke. I mean, it could be just an enemy having a really good position so that you can't get through this certain hallway, so you have to go through another. So you will of course run out of time. And that's why you have to get a feeling for the time you really have to attack the objective. Alright, so that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed and that you could actually learn something. And don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.